Hello all. Assume there are two local cricket teams, namely the Royal Dukes RD and the Elegant Risers ER. And they are hoping to obtain new equipments for an upcoming season. They are planning to get 3 items, which are balls, bats and helmets. A ball costs Rs 6,000, a bat costs Rs 10,000 and a helmet costs Rs 3,000. Well, if you have to calculate the total cost for the equipment needed for each team, how would you do so? In this section, we will discover a method in which the data in the cricket equipment table can be displayed and used for calculating other information as well. Then we will be able to calculate the cost of the equipment. Come, let's step into the world of matrix. First, we will learn the basic concepts of matrix before we take a deep dive into the real world problems. Welcome to MathDa, and I am Angayar. To solve a problem like the one we just described for the cricket teams, we generally use matrix to present such kind of data. It could be as small as just with one element, or it could be with regard to hundreds or thousands of data that could be represented in the form of matrix. And they are represented as an array of numbers arranged in a particular fashion. Then these numbers are normally defined by a capital letter like matrix A or matrix B, matrix C and so on and so forth, and normally they are enclosed in a square or round brackets. And every element, or we may also call it as entry, in a matrix is referred to as Aij, such that I represents the row number and J represents the column number. So if I may say A12 meaning first row, second column. And in general, the entries of a matrix, it could be just a simple real number, or it could be complex numbers, or it could be functions of one variable or more variables, and the functions could be polynomials, trigonometric functions, or combination of them. So now you may wonder, what is a row and column? A row in a matrix is a set of numbers that are aligned horizontally. A column in a matrix is a set of numbers that are aligned vertically. And if you see in this example, we do have entries beginning with A11, A12, A13, A21, A22, A23, and then it ends with A33. And these we call it as elements or entries in a matrix. And this is arranged in a specific fashion. That is, we have 3 elements in the first row and 3 elements in the second row and 3 elements in the third row. Similarly, we do have 3 elements in the first column, second column and third column as well. So in total, we do have 3 rows and 3 columns. So matrices are often referred by their dimensions, or we may call it as order, or we may also refer to it as size of a matrix. So if a matrix A has m rows and n columns, then the order or size or dimension of the matrix A is defined as m by n, and it is written as m cross n. So when you read it, you have to read it as m by n. M refers to the number of rows in the given matrix, and n refers to number of columns in the given matrix. So in order to get a better grip of this, let us consider a simple example here. Assume that a teacher is reporting a student's score in a tabulation form as shown here. There are 5 subjects: math, science, social science, language 1, language 2, and they have got 3 tests, test 1, test 2 and test 3. So the scores are tabulated in a specific fashion, where we do have the subjects written in the first row and the number of tests is written as in first column. So this is actually represented or exhibited in a tabulation form. If you want to write this data as in a matrix, then we can represent this as matrix A as shown here, and the matrix is written in yellow color. As we could see, R1, which is the row 1, it represents test 1 scores of all 5 subjects. R2 represents test 2 scores of all 5 subjects. R3 represents test 3 scores of all 5 subjects. Similarly, C1, which is a column 1, it represents math score in all 3 tests, test 1, test 2 and test 3. C2 represents science scores in all 3 tests, and so on. Before we move further, let me ask a quick question here. What is the order of this matrix? Yeah, you're right. It is 3 by 5, as we have 3 rows and 5 columns. And in this, we could see that we have 15 entries in this. As we have 3 rows and 5 columns, it is 3 into 5. So in total, we have 15 entries or elements of this matrix A. And these individual entries, generally they are represented as A11, A12, A13, A14 and so on. Which means that A11 refers to the entry in first row, first column, because as we have already seen, Aij is I is the number of row and J is the column number. So A11 refers, in A11 we have the first one referring to the row number, and the second one represents the column number. So if it is going to be A, say 3, 2, 3 refers to the row and 2 refers to the column. So we have to find out the entry in the third row and the second column. Alright. Before we move further, it is important that one gets clarity about what is a row, what is a column, how are these entries represented, and what is the order of a matrix. Now a quick test to you. What does the entry in the third row and second column represent? Let me give you 5 seconds. Yes, you're right. The entry 72, which is A32, common to the third row and the second column in the matrix, is the right answer. And this represents the mark scored by the student in the subject science in test 3. Another quick question. What is the score of A34? Yes, you're right. A34 indicates entry in third row and fourth column. So the answer is 89, which corresponds to language 1 in test 3 score. Now let's look into another example. Suppose that a matrix has 12 elements, that is 12 entries. What could be the possible orders it can have? The second part is, what if it has 7 elements? Let me give you 10 seconds. Yes, you're right. The number of elements is the product of number of rows and number of columns. Therefore, we will find all ordered pairs of natural numbers whose product is 12. So thus in this case we will have 1 by 12, 12 by 1, 2 by 6, 6 by 2, 3 by 4 and 4 by 3. And for the second part, since 7 is a prime number, the only possible orders of the matrix are 1 by 7 and 7 by 1. Now going back to our original problem on how much will our both local cricket teams RD and ER would be spending on their equipments, we may have to still wait for one more section in order to solve that problem, since as of now we have learnt only to present a given data in a matrix form, and also we have learnt how to read the elements or entries of a matrix. So as a first step, before actually working out this problem, let's find out few simple data from this particular table. Find out the order and A21 and A32. So for this, first let's rewrite the given data in a matrix form as shown here in yellow. Say let's call it as matrix A. Now count the number of rows and columns of this matrix A. We have 3 rows and 2 columns. So the order of this matrix is 3 by 2. As we know, order is defined as number of rows into number of columns. So here it is 3 by 2. Next, in order to identify A21 and A32, you should know what A21 and A32 refer to. A21 is the entry in second row and first column. A32 refers to the entry in third row and second column. So A21 is 24, which is nothing but number of bats required by RDT, whereas A32 is third row second column element, which is 20. Here it refers to number of helmets required by the ERT. So in order to find the actual total cost incurred, we may have to wait till the next chapter on the operations of matrix. To quickly recap, a matrix is nothing but a rectangular array of numbers that is usually named by a capital letter. Say it could be A, B, C and so on. And each entry in a matrix is referred to as Aij, such that I represents the row and J represents the column. These elements are presented either in a square bracket or round bracket, with the elements in a horizontal line representing rows and elements in the vertical line representing columns. Matrices are often referred to by their dimensions, or we may also call it as order or size of the matrix, where we have M by N indicating number of rows and number of columns. Now let's practice some more lessons in these concepts in the forthcoming sections. So till then, very best to you all.